going on, chat? If you can hear me, say hello. And we're just kind of trying to figure stuff out here in the practice session before the real deal here. We're watching Zach Beauclair battle with one of the Mustangs. Who is that? Soroyan, and he takes a hike. But using this practice session right now to check the levels, check any lag, any network issues. So if things are sounding funky or feeling funky to you guys, please let me know. I'm just going to be talking for a little bit here, hoping that this is coming across for everybody. If there's any issues with sound or volume, please let your boy know. Because your boy needs to know. Badly. Go with Davin, why not? Anybody in chat here can let me know. I'm also actively trying to figure out how to get a working link right now that I can throw in the Discord. I'm so good at this, guys. We're learning on the job. We're having fun. Troy saying Larry just posted one. Did Larry get one on the board? Oh, Larry posted a link. Thank you. All right, thank you, boys. There was a little bit of anxiety. I've done Twitch before. YouTube is new to me, so I'm actively trying to learn this. For everybody in chat, how is the game balance? How's the game comm balance? Am I too loud? I'm always too loud, but am I too loud? Is the game too loud? What we feeling? Because I got 22 minutes and 56 seconds to figure this out. Ooh, tell you what, we do have a little bit of a freight train ahead of us. We're riding on board with Davin. Flying Frenchman behind him, Loic Michaud. Roy Curry says, all good, brother. Thanks for streaming. Man, if I get to geek out and literally just sit by myself and talk about race cars, that's a good day. We'll take that. I will say, for ACC, I'm waiting for the Aston Martin facelift because they have the Zagato-esque kind of front end that looks so good. It got implemented this year, and we're still on the, I want to say this is the 2018-2019 spec Vantage, but would love to see that. There's a couple of different models, and you gotta question how much AC is obviously committed to doing that kind of stuff further on, especially with ACE getting actual demo runs here in the next couple of weeks at Sim Racing Expo. But we hope this game gets a good amount of love here into at least the near future. On the wing of John Correa, that's Munoz and Hayne behind him. Getting into this happy hour practice. You get a whole week in the house of practice to get it together. But if you're going cold turkey, well, if we look at analytics, it's maybe 9-10 guys who will come in about on average a week. And now we got at least 21. Should have some more here coming in with 10 minutes to go. Ty Sweat says, I just want the Corvette. Me too, man. 100% me too, especially with the Mustang. Corey says, I thought Kuno said no more updates. It's possible, and I just didn't see that. I mean, just some little quality of life stuff. I'm not asking for, you know, huge, like, track packs like we got with the Nürburgring or the American pack, but, like, one-off cars that just keep it up to GT3 spec for at least a little bit. It'd be nice, especially if they could reverse engineer any of the cars. Say we do see a Corvette GT3 in ACE, and maybe that could work its way backwards somehow into ACC. I know Forza Motorsport has done the same, launching cars on Motorsport first and then putting them back into Horizon 5. So certainly possible. Will they do it? I don't know. Hi, saying I think they'll be focusing on ACE and then give us something else for ACC. Yeah. I think if we could live in a world where they kind of coexist like their own Motorsport and Horizon, just looking at the direction that AC is even at, by the way. Both Correa and Arroyon gonna dive into the pits here. All right, next question, chat. I'm cranking up my cooling pad right now because of my fan. Let me know if you can hear that in the background. That would be appreciated. We got everybody in the pits here. I believe we might have our briefing going on here momentarily. So we might step away if that is the case. Let's go watch what Michel's doing for the time being. Some really big news in the Aston Martin camp in the real world. Will be moving Heart of Racing, their factory program in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, going up to the GTP program, going from a two-car program in GT Daytona, excuse me, up to kind of a 50-50 split. Going to be having one GTP car, that's that angelic-sounding V12 Valkyrie, and one more Vantage that'll stay in GTD Pro for the time being. other well-known kind of fan favorite team in Magnus Racing that has been running the Vantage, has announced that Petit Le Mans was their penultimate race, and they will be closing their doors after the 24 Hours of Daytona next year. Kind of the... fan favorites is a strong word when you've got AO Racing and Rexy. They were the AO Racing before AO Racing existed. John Potter, as a gentleman driver, just says, hey, let's go have fun. Quinn's saying volume's a little too low. There's like 9, like in general. Oh, Michaud just committed manslaughter. Quinn, do we mean the game, me, or all of the above? This is important. All of the above. You got it. Man, I hope I had cars on track. Of course, I get that right now. All right, so mic is up a little bit. I don't want to destroy your guys' eardrums. Oh, Quinn, this is embarrassing. It is embarrassing. Check this. That might be, like, dummy loud, though. We'll see. It's hard for me to tell right now because I don't have cars. It's whatever. I'm rolling with the punches. We'll adjust stuff on the fly if we gotta. And you guys can add how long have we been in here. It has been 20 minutes into this. I'm Jackson, by the way. How you guys doing? My name is Jackson Lambros. I am aspiring motorsports broadcaster is a stretch because I've been doing this for about a year now for watch parties for a couple different online sites, but have not really done it for sim racing. Devin and the entire NASRS crew have been super nice to me. Game volume 7580, voice as is. You got it. Cranking that soldier boy down. And again, it's hard for me to tell right now because we got the guys in briefing. We will have qualifying to kind of work that out. But if you guys ever want to hear me geek out about cars outside of stream or outside of NASRS, you can go and follow my own work at Outlap Media Official on YouTube and Instagram, as well as Grid Network on YouTube. They're in briefing right now, and we might have a little bit of a stretch to the finish here, but for now, we're going to take a step back. We'll be back with you in a little bit. Stay with us. And we are back, and we got cars on track. So I'm just going to yap a little bit, and you guys can give me a little bit more feedback. I got 10 minutes to figure this out. This is Zach Beauclair. Porsche 911 GT3, this incredible kind of gear racing-inspired livery based on the all-female Lamborghini Huracan team that competed, I believe 2020 it was, Rolex 24. Unfortunately, a car that ended up being on fire. But Beauclair did a fantastic job in the opening race at Silverstone, hunting down one of the Fords. I want to say it was Arjun. I'm not entirely certain. It was either Arroyan or Arjun. By the way, Arjun, if you are in chat, it's going to be ARN, or just Arjun. Do you guys like the full map during practice? Is that not weird? I can do the full that. If you're driving and you want to see live telemetry, useful. Let's go with this guy for now. Speaking of Mustangs, Jeffrey Arroyan. Fastest man so far here in happy hour. He will duck into the pit lane. On board with Strudevant. That's Munoz behind him, hunting him down. Don DeBean saying thank you for the streaming commentating. Not an issue at all, Don. Just getting the ball rolling so far here. About 7 minutes left. Shift M. Am I about to get blown away? Wait. Hold on. Oh my God. Arjun, I'm learning something new every day. Thank you. So for those that didn't know, you can get the full map. I don't know if this is something everybody else knew, apparently, for anybody who plays ACC. This is not something I knew. That's awesome. Is that position-based, or can I make it the numbers also? Arjun, hypothetically, how would I change the MFD from broadcast view? Hypothetically, of course. Let's try that. Control 3. Oh, that didn't... Oh, boy. It was not Control 3. Oh, boy. Matt Quant, and I believe that is the lone. It was last week. Yeah, it is. That's Zach Felix, the lone. Not even the lone Audi, the lone V10, not a single Lamborghini Huracan in this field. Flying the flag for a brand that is no longer involved in GT3 or sports car racing as a whole. Matt Quant in the 296 hunts him down. Reminder that we've got 2 classes of racing tonight, technically. A big enough grid here kind of justifies it. Into a Pro and Am. Pro with those white number frames. Ams are going to be the reds. Ams not necessarily rookies or new, but in a split just a tad slower. So it'll be 2 races on the same track. Fastest in happy hour so far. In Pro, it's Arroyan. In Am, it's Brian Slater. In the super popular Honda NSX, Quanto is hunting down Zach Felix big time here. And again, guys, if you have any feedback for me, we'll 100% take it. Technical wise, you're bad at, you suck at commentating is one I'm used to, and I've heard that enough, so. Back on track here with 2:40 to go in final practice. Jeffrey Arroyan. That's Carter Hayne in front of him. That's the 17. Currently in 17th. That's the number 2. Jesse B in chat saying go Baclair. He's been fast, man. Incredibly strong at Silverstone. Carter Hayne loses it on the brakes here in the hairpin. Can I get a replay of that? Let's try this really quick. I might have just broken the game. I did! Hi, chat. Please give me 1 second. There was an option to do the instant replay, and it did not work. Smooth. Okay, so we're not doing instant replay. Final laps of practice in progress right now. Who's cooking right now? We got Arjun, we got Ty Sweat, JBR, Jeff Arroyan, Adriel Lugo Ortiz, a couple other guys. So that's checkered. So next time these guys go across the stripe, that'll be the session for them. JBR is going to get a huge improvement here. This could be the fastest. Yes, it is. At the buzzer, JBR putting in a 44.3 as the fastest. Go fast time at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Amateur division up first. The red end plates and number frames. 20-minute session overall. That's cut into two 10-minute sessions, and we already got an issue for Grayson Head. Through Repsol, looks like he might have lost it under brakes there. That's a tricky corner. Can really push it late on the brakes there after crossing under Repsol Bridge and lose it under power. Grayson, who's had a silent but consistent running so far at Silverstone. Looking to see where he can put this AMG GT. Ty Sweat chucks it just over track limits. That doesn't matter. First hot lap underway. It'll be the number 14 Turner Motorsports machine, a Ty Sweat, putting us at pace. Look at how he takes it all the way to the outside, gets those two wheels over the green, can really test the track limits here at Catalunya. We'll see that again here as he works his way around the carousel into Repsol. Another big braking zone where you can kind of test the outside track limits. Two wheels over, brakes just before the Repsol Bridge. Get as close to the apex as he can. Slowly unwind the power here, known to get oversteery. Turn 5, tough corner, downhill off camber. Late apex, back on the power as quick as you can. Another tricky switchback, left to right. This is TV3, brake at the start of the curb. Just gets the left tires over. Watch the sausage curb as that'll upset the car. Turn 9, blind right-hander. Bit of a lift. Run it as far back over that curbing on the left as you can. And then Lakaiza. One of the slowest corners we'll go to here in Season 22. This is Live Woes, Triple Eight. Carries the speed well through 13. Into the chicane. This has been removed for Formula 1 in the time since. You use the old 13 Europe car. Not for the GT3s, though. Ty Switt gets us first to the line. It's going to be a 1:46.3. As both the Quant twins get up on him, so does Zach Felix. That was actually an invalid lap for Ty Switt, who tested those track limits a little bit too hard. We got the mix in progress right now, as the pro drivers now also take to the field. And it is going to be all eyes on the terror from Tobanga. Terror from Trinidad, excuse me, Michael Charles. One lap pace, absolutely stellar what he can get out of this Honda NSX. Grabbed pole at the buzzer at Silverstone. Not quite able to turn that into wins just yet. But the one lap pace of this man, absolutely insane. Already half a second up from his first lap. Skates it a bit there out of 5. But it's just so confident under power. You guys will never know who I am. Nah, I don't drive as fast as Stig. We're on board with Michael Charles. 14 minutes left in qualifying here for round 2 of the North American Sim Racing Series. Hi, I'm Jackson Lambros. It's nice to meet all 18 of you, and I thank you greatly for choosing to tune in here on a Tuesday night. Charles goes a little bit deep in the chicane, does a good job, though, of keeping it out of the sausage curbs. That'll destroy your car, destroy your lap time. Unwinds it back onto the start-finish line. That's still good enough for half a second quicker for him. So that'll promote Charles up into second. But up front, it's Jorge Blasini Rivera. Fastest in practice, so far fastest in both the Pro Division and overall. And now Arroyon leapfrogs him. Was one of the fast guys as well. Both the Mustang drivers were incredibly fast alongside Greg Kachadurian. Smoked the Silverstone competition by 20 seconds. So he's not here tonight, so the question is, who is going to be on top? And it's still, once again, could be Michael Charles, who keeps Stig and still half a second up here. And that might just be a track violation. I'm not sure. That was close. Oh no! We got sent back. I'm not sure if that was a rage quit or Roro. Charles still with us, absolute flyer. Fastest in Sector 3 last time. Fastest overall this lap. 1:44 even. Absolute flyer from Michael Charles. I was about to say was about to say it was Matt Quant on pole provisionally. Not anymore, though, in the AM category. It's this man right here, Nitin Murphy. Experimental Racing, that number 23 Mercedes. AMG, one of the cars that a lot of these guys get comfortable for. Woes, especially Woes, if we're talking about cars you got used to while driving in the Rookie Series. Could get a couple flavors. One of them right here was the Mercedes, as that's a big wiggle. And Murphy won't even try to salvage anything from that. Mercedes AMG, McLaren 720, Ferrari 488, and Lexus RCF. Some of the rookie cars on tap for these guys. Although many moons ago, when I was driving as a rookie, this was 2-3 years ago, they were doing the Super Trofeos. Here's it, Wozniak, who had a really, really good battle at the end of Silverstone, was in the top 10 pretty much the entire race. Whether it's the Mustangs or the Mustang drivers that are fast, that's up to you, but these guys have ran up front a ton. Eight minutes to go. Charles on provisional pole. Then it's Blasini, Rivera, and Arroyan. Your top three. Murphy still provisionally on pole in the AM category. Lugo, Ortiz, and Quant trying to kind of get that down on the red plates. I do not broadcast. Game plan isn't to broadcast Thursday races. Rookies are nervous. They got a lot to think about, and they genuinely race well. The last thing I want to do is get them more anxious about something, even if it's the mentality that there's maybe, 20-something people watching it on YouTube Live. Keep the pressure low. Keep the fun high. And I'm driving in GT4s. So for coverage right now, this is what you're getting. Don asking about the qualifying config. I believe it did change. It was originally kind of a 10-10 split. And I think they gave... It looks like they let the AMs out for the first 5 minutes and then just kind of opened it to everybody for the rest of it. And the track's just kind of open to everybody at this point because we still have both classes on track. Quick look over in AM. Lugo Ortiz has jumped one of the Quant brothers. Both of the Quant brothers, mind you. 6th and 7th. That could be a really, really cool third row if that stays the way it does. But I know as a fact, both Abe Wozniak and Davin Strudevant, I'm still butchering that last name for Davin, I'm sorry. But both of those guys are digging right now. So too is Mikhail. Charles running a very different qualifying from Silverstone. Again, kind of put it together at the buzzer. This time by, he's shown pace early and he's kind of held it. Joaquin Munoz behind. 18th overall, still in the top 10 in AM. And he'll go off. Mikel Charles, who was on a flyer, has got trouble in front of him as Sean Cran. And that's going to essentially totally end his lap unless he can make something work here. ECO saying we all know that yellow Honda is not finishing the race. That is what I was talking about earlier, with all respect to Mikhail. A guy that can absolutely put a lap together, but needs to work on consistency. It's something we've been talking about for a while. Because even if it's just a second slower and he learns to cool the jets, he's going to be unstoppable. But that's still something we're fighting with. Whoops. Davin Strudevant improving up into 5th there. That's 4th overall with an absolute flyer. Same with AL. I'm going to get Arjun's name down at some point, and it's going to be perfect, and it's going to be off the tongue. But right now, it's going to be either Arjun or ALN. We'll go with Arjun right now because Arjun got it up into 7th. He's 3rd in amateur right now. As Mikhail now goes into the 43s with 23 seconds to go in qualifying. Man. Checkered flag is out. Abe Wozniak, John Kraus, a couple others still on flyers, but it's looking like it'll be Mikhail Charles leading off in pro. And now Murphy in AM, starting 4th overall. Jorge saying nerf Mikhail. He kind of, oh man, I'm not going to be mean. I don't want to say he nerfs himself. We'll take a break really quickly. Get ready for the green. Stay with us. still on break, but want to thank all 20-something of you for coming out to watch this race. See, we got a couple of Zach Beauclair fans, a couple different supporters in chat. Love to see all of you up here. Say hi in chat. Would love to talk with you. Be back in a second. Stay with us. Thank you, 5-5. I don't know if that was muted for the start, but that is really embarrassing if that's the case. Oh boy. First lap in the books, Mikel Charles will hold on to that lead. Aside from Blasini Rivera and Jeff Arroyan, but Arroyan is slowly but surely digging on that teal McLaren. Further back, here's Abe Wozniak. Another Mustang trying to get to work this time. It's the Honda of Davin Strudavant in front of him. I might have been muted when I mentioned it, but you can see at the top of the screen there, pit window is open. That's pretty much available flag to flag. Drivers required to take one pit stop at some point in this race. You can expect guys to come in, give or take 30 minutes into this thing. And of course, just making it through turn 1 was enough of an achievement for some of these guys. I don't mean that in a skill way, but just when you've got 30-something machines pouring into turn 1 like that at 150 miles an hour, it's almost bound to happen. Now the battle's kind of flipped here for 5th as Michael Quant, that 12-ounce Racing Mercedes, is slowly trying to work his way around Abe Wozniak. Both of them go all the way to the outside here. Quant not really using that line so much, but he's trying to get that extra slipstream and get past that Mustang. On the bumper of Michael. If there's a time for him to overtake, it's going to be in the technical corners like this. It's going to need courage from Quant because you've just got so much power in that Mustang in front of you that it is hard to close that gap. You can see how much wider Wozniak is taking that corner, carrying so much speed over turn 9 into the hairpin. Misses that apex slightly, but gets back on the power, runs it all the way out. Let's see what he can do through the arena section here. 11 and 12 now into the chicane. Now that hemorrhaging has kind of gotten up to Murthy in front of him. As it's just about a 4-car freight train here. Another big freight train further back. Zach Leclerc, that BFE Racing Porsche. Joaquin Munoz and Raf Cabrera behind him. Both of these guys, some great flat 6 soundtrack here. 2 of the best sounding race cars on track. Couple of things as we're watching this battle. Your biggest mover so far, Abe Wozniak, got up 4 positions. He started 10th. He's up in 6th. Lugo Ortiz with a rough one. Dropped 5 positions. Started 6th. Is now back in 11th. Both Kraus and Sweat are in the running, but they're a little bit further back. That's because they started from the pit lane due to penalties. I believe Crane there in the 31 also had problems as well. Let's go back up here to Davin, who is still holding off the Mustang and the Mercedes behind him of Wozniak and Quant. As there was a little bit of a look to the inside from Abe Wozniak in that Podium Hunters Mustang, but decided to play it smart for now. He's got a lot of racetrack where he can make it happen, and that might not be the place to do it. In this interesting kind of environment here with this three-car battle where it sort of feels like anybody can bounce on anybody here for position. A little bit further back, another Mustang. This is Arjun, and Quant has a really good run. He's going to try the outside going into the hairpin. That'll be way too long of a way around unless he can get a switch back. But Arjun makes that jumpy whale Mustang as wide as possible. Some great defense from the Indian. Keeps it to the middle of the racetrack. Oh, this is some great racing. We were looking at the Mercedes of Mike Quinn. Here's the other. This is Matt, the AM driver in that number 20 Ferrari. Oh, big slide there through turn number 1. Was productive and got ahead of it and managed to save the car, but got into a big lazy slide there. Let's go check in on Michael, though, because he's trying to dig as well, working his way to the front of Abe Wozniak. Another battle here. Grayson Head, Carson Hain, Zach Beclaire, Joaquin Munoz. Munoz looking to the inside of Zach Beclaire. This is going to be a really tough place to make an overtake. That's not going to happen, though. As Munoz all the way on the back. That's a big slide through turn number 9. He keeps it together, though. Big slide for Joaquin Munoz. As Beauclair goes deep on the brakes, he might have made contact there. With Hain in front, he'll drop back. And he might have gone just a tad too late on the brakes there and made contact with the Honda in front of him. I'm not entirely sure, though. It was hard to tell from that angle. He's kept it going. I'm not sure if that's front-end damage. On the wing of Munoz. Another big lunge on the inside from Beclaire there. Nothing quite yet, though. These Porsches infamous for being tough to tame. How brave can you be with it? How much confidence can you have in it? If I'm Zach Beauclair, am I going to take it to the inside of Repsol here and try to make a move? Yeah, I am. Tries it all the way to the inside, too wide. They make contact. Beauclair goes around, but keeps it rolling. In a bad situation, gone worse for Zach Beclaire. He's kept that machine rolling, but that's got to be damage at that point. It is an absolute melee in the mid-pack. And the two Porsches get into it further up front. Murphy, the lone am. His on-track competition is way back in 8th in the form of Arjun, but he's doing his best right now to hold off Davin. Turn 1, popular overtaking spot. This won't be the place we'll see it, though. Quick glance further ahead here as battle for second is heating up as well. Normally about 5 minutes into the race, you see people kind of start to get into a groove and kind of be content with their position, kind of wait until the pit stop time to really get their fangs out and go for position, but none of these guys are really taking that chance right now. Take Matt Quant, for example. Podium battle here in the AM category. These guys have been going at it the entire race so far. Not as good of a run as last time into Lakaja, but takes it really narrow there. And again, great defense from the Indian Arjun Lakshmi Narashiam, who's just kind of parking it on the apex here. Now, granted, that is kind of bunching up the entire pack behind him, but that's making for some brilliant racing. Davin with another good run. As we see Beauclair coming out of the pits, let's see if he'll be a factor in this battle. He'll play the nice guy and kind of hang it wide. Lap number 9. Davin, I think, is kind of playing the patience game here. Maybe an underfueled car seeing slower traffic in front, knowing the battles you're in, saying, hey, I can lift and coast behind this guy. I'm getting free fuel mileage out of this. No biggie. So Zach Beauclair with damage back in 24th. And now you might think, oh, dead last, game over. Not quite. Because that's his mandatory pit stop done. So with enough fuel and a little bit smoother driving, he can take that into the end and still finish within the top 15, top 20 here. Especially if this is just how the carnage is starting out here. Battle for scraps further back. This is John Correa and Dave Pakagani. Back over to Matt Quant. He's backed off of Arjun, but now he's got Lugo Ortiz right on his bumper. This could be huge. Adriel Lugo Ortiz to the outside here of the Ferrari. Oh, they bang fenders into the brake zone. They're bumper to bumper into the turn. Quant still has the ideal line on the inside and will hold on to 9th for now, but this is far from over. Adriel Lugo Ortiz saw a mistake there from Matt Quant, tried to jump on it. And he's not out of the woods yet, but that banana boat Ferrari has done some great defense. And now maybe a little bit overcooked on strategy. That's given Eric Laflamme a chance to kind of come in and maybe pounce on Lugo Ortiz. One of the biggest amateur-filled races we've seen here in NASRS, and it has so far led to some significant racing. Up front, though, Mikel Charles in cruise control. 5 seconds and change up from the leader. Or, excuse me, up from second place. And this battle might be exactly what Mikel Charles needs, because both these guys think they're faster than the other, which is why they're trying to get ahead of one another, and they're just slowing each other down in the process, and that's just giving Mikel a lap. And just smooth, clean air running is exactly what he needs, both mentally and physically right now. Arroyon out of Repsol, tries to make a move happen, gets a fender on him to the outside here through turn 5. Takes it to the middle. Great defensive driving from the Baruchia Racing pilot. Goes a smidge wide there, drops a wheel in the sand, and that'll give a good exit here to Arroyon. On board with Arroyon. Top Mustang. Again, Mustangs have not necessarily become the meta. There is no meta in this game, but has become the preferred machine by top drivers. Greg Kachadurian, who put on a masterclass last race, drove one. And now Jeffrey Arroyon's showing the pace right here with a dive to the inside of Blasini Rivera. Side by side through turn number 2. He'll hold on to a fender, but they'll back out through turn number 3. JBR able to get the power down in that McLaren 720. Into Repsol, what do they got? Big trail braking turn right here. Both drivers showing stability and faith in the car. And these are the kind of battles that we might not see end up sorted until we see them cycle through the pits. Top 10 order has kind of stayed put this entire race so far. Exception being Michael Quint, who's gotten a kind of traded positions here with Abe Wozniak. But both have just kind of gone back and forth. Battle heating up. Did we miss the overtake? I think we might have. Oh, trouble! JBR gets into Arroyon! Trouble for our podium standers! Blasini Rivera got past Arroyon in turn 1, but they made contact in turn 3! They kept going, and now Murdy and the whole rest of this squad in the top 10 is right on their bumpers. 10-second lead for Charles, and everybody has a chance at the podium. Gonna need to see a replay here, as we might see action from race control. As we see Grayson Head get a 10-second penalty from race control as well. Although I'm not entirely sure the reasoning behind that. You can say what you will about the tussle between these two, but JBR didn't necessarily drive through him. Treated it like a gentleman, lifted off, gave the position back. Both are still in the positions they were now originally. Except now they got that AMG of Murdy on him. And this battle is indeed far from over. Side by side again. Let's run it back into one. Lead given to Arroyan. He'll snap to the outside to try and defend from that teal McLaren. He keeps the defense up. But JBR and Murphy still with the seat at the table here for the podium. Further back, the 20-long-minute battle, the 14-lap-long battle rages on. Michael Quint, Abe Wozniak, the 28 and the 3. Two very different flavors of front-engine V8. Quint goes very wide there. That might be a track cut violation, actually, for the AMG driver. Back to Carter Hayne here, who's kind of seen this battle between Arjun and the other Quint, Michael, and is now looking for a move. Tried the inside there on Lakaja, but backed out. Behind them is Joaquin Munoz, who was with Leclerc earlier on in the battle, has kind of moved on to this pack. We will keep you updated. We got a first taker into the pits. It's Davin Strudavon. Alongside Gavin Head, that'll promote Wozniak up into 5th. And we're right about at that time. Hammer has been dropped. It's a 5-second penalty for Jorge Blasini Rivera. That will push him, as they stand right now, up into 6th. Quint closer than ever here. Trying to defend. Trying to make a move on Abe Wozniak. Here it is to the inside. Towards TV3. You can't really make it stick here unless you're brave enough. There are no manners through here. Wozniak taken wide. They're still side by side. Now Wozniak will go back. A move 20 minutes in the making. But Abe Wozniak loses 6th to that Mercedes, finally. Some great driving from both of these gentlemen. Further back, the other brother, Matt, has since lost that position. And now you got a couple of guys behind him. That's Cabrera right behind him. Joaquin looking for a move to the inside. He gets pushed outside of the track. And he's going to take it nice and slow here. That might be a penalty for one of them, as all of these guys are shaken up. Couple guys coming into the pits. That'll promote Eric Laflamme into the top 10. Provisionally. And now it's a battle for getting into the top 10. John Correa looking for a move around Raf Cabrera. This is some good racing right here. All the way to the outside here into Repsol. You can see how much more Cabrera is kind of taking it to the outside, but he goes mega wide here through a turn 4, and you can see the wiggle there as he struggles to get on power 2. Those are your signs of a guy who needs new tires. And Correa is trying to pounce on that. Oh, around goes Correa. Big slide. He manages to save it, but that'll mean Michaud goes through. Now Zach Felix tries to pounce on him as well. Again, in that late stage of the stint, fuel's running low, tires are running low, and you want positions badly, but you gotta mentally say, this is not the same car you had 17 now laps ago. We can see there with that big dosage of counter steer there from Zach Felix. Leader in AM in. That'll give the lead to Lugo Ortiz as we see Murdy go in. Same with Dave Pacagini. So our 2 Mercedes in the amateur class take a trip down the pits. So as bizarre as this is going to sound right now, this is kind of the phase where you don't really have battles on track. You're waiting for guys to get on fresh tires. If you're... Any of the battles that were existing are kind of starting to separate because you kind of have numerous strategies being broken up here. So if I'm going long, I'm backing off. I'm trying to conserve. If I'm undercutting, I'm going insane on the wheel out on exit, just trying to get as much of a delta as possible. So we're not fully going to see the effects of this until maybe for another 10 minutes. One guy who's going to have to take another drive to the pits, though, Malik Michaud, for reasons I'm not sure why. Whether it maybe is track violations or speeding on pit road. We see him go really deep into the chicane there. And he's going to go into the pen right now as we've got early implications here as both Quant and Jorge Blasini Rivera work their way into pit road. So pit stop's underway already, but it is still smooth sailing for Michael Charles. Talked to him briefly after Silverstone. I asked why he kind of had the race that he did. Was, again, incredibly fast in qualifying, was running in the top 4 and got an overtake and then just dropped like a stone, and he just said, I was frustrated. I wanted to overdrive the car. And there was an amazing move here as we see him come to pit road. But Charles is a guy that drives emotionally, for better or for worse. And he's been in conditions that have been very, very kind to him. And this right now might be the first time we'll see him on track with cars actually in front of him. Jeffrey Arroyan won't try anything fancy to get around him. He'll go to the pits at the same time as him. Same with Lugo Ortiz and LaFlamme. We're going to have everybody coming into the pits this lap, I reckon. Yep, Munoz works his way in. Cabrera stays out. This is going to be interesting at the merge. You've got Cabrera on old tires. And just exiting here, we've got Michael Charles. It's going to be really interesting to see what Michael Charles can do here on fresh tires, trying to hold that lead. As we just now see him come out. Also still trying to play the long game. The man from Manitoba, Brian Slater, in that beautiful custom liveried Honda NSX. That's Zach Felix and on Carrera in front of him. You can see it on the right. This whole freight train for the provisional lead, 15 and change on Delta to Michael Charles. We got a drive-through penalty for Mike, for one of the Quants. Again, I'm in that phase right now where I really gotta get the names figured out here for the Quants. Because they made it easy enough where they're in different cars, right? But they're identical twins in real life. That'll be jail time for him, as well as a brutal end to Lugo Ortiz's day, who was looking so strong so far. Correa and Slater so far going to the pits. Cabrera will continue to lead laps here. Felix about 3 seconds back, and this will hand the lead straight back to Charles, though, in the pro category. Further back, another freight train here. Michel, Blasini, Rivera, Crane, Strudavant. A lot of these guys still need to pit. Matt in the Fezza? We'll have to go look at that post-race, Don. I'm not sure what you're... Mike in the Mercedes, thank you. I stand corrected. Here's your situation on pitting. Pretty much everyone's done it. Cabrera and Felix still need to. As Blasini Rivera works his way around Micho, this is going to be important here. Rivera down but not out in this podium fight. So originally I was going to say we're going to have to watch Michael Charles kind of play outrun and kind of work himself up to the front here with any old traffic. I don't even think that's going to be a case. Cabrera into the pits. That means Felix will be the lone guy out here. Still to pit. Question is how long. I would reckon this lap. At this point, you're really, really driving on ice. Further back, though, these three back at it. Now it'll be Abe Wozniak looking to the inside of Davin. Davin actually went to the apex and then saw him and backed out, went low again. Wozniak all the way to the apron. Davin almost getting boxed out here as Davin almost loses 2 positions. And the other Quant bites the dust. Michael Quant, consistently in the top 10, runs into trouble. And this time it's with Davin Strudevant. A battle far from over, and we're going to have to look at that. I'm going to need to look at that again, because I am not entirely sure who was at blame there, but mega props to Devin, not only for avoiding that conflict into turn one, but making sure that he didn't go around with Michael. A little bit further back, Jumpy Whale Racing. Arjun trying to get a move here on Carter Hayne, excuse me. Takes a peek to the inside here through Lakaja. Not going to make it happen. Oh man, look at Arjun wrestling that. V8 power. Traction is everything, and he is wrestling that. Further up, Felix has improved that gap. Now 22 laps on one set here. Arjun looking for a way around. He's going to try the outside, maybe get a switchback here through 3. Carter took the bait. He's washed up into the marbles. Are we going to see a move here into Repsol? Not quite. But it's a little bit of playing with the food right now for Arjun, who sees it and kind of knows it. Over the blind right-hander of turn 9. This will be a good time for Arjun to use all of those ponies in that Ford Coyote. Carter doing a great job, though, of defending him on the anchors. Zach Felix finally gives up that mega stint. Comes in from the lead. That'll give it back to Mikhail Charles. This battle for the top 10 far from over. Zane Felix making the most of that strategy. Guy who started 18th comes into the pits, does a mega stint, gets 5 positions for playing the long game. Still 6 seconds up from Zach Leclerc. Further up, this battle continues. Davin versus Abe. I believe Arjun is 5'5". I'm not entirely sure. Again, there's no necessary limit. Obviously, the force feedback wheel is the weapon of choice for a lot of guys in here, but we've seen guys be stupid quick on controllers. Wozniak a little bit wide there. Through Repsol, Davin thought about going to the inside for a second there. He'll stay in line here through 5. One of the closest battles on track here. Scrap battle further back. Kraus versus Switten to turn number 1. Kraus looked like he had the run on that BMW. Will make it a done deal by turn number 1. Further back, Strudevant and Wozniak still going at it. Tried the over-under in turn number 10. Didn't quite get it, though. The owner of the North American Sim Racing Series and the sensei for a lot of drivers is just kind of played the patient game. Knows when to take his battles, knows when to pounce. Honestly, knows that just being in Wozniak's mirrors is enough. Granted, when you have a car, you've got two very polar opposite cars from a driving mentality. The NSX, very angry once you get aggressive with it. Meant to be kind of treated with care. Take care of it, it takes care of you. Mustang, very much for my Assetto guys, kind of like the Maserati GT4. Won't be too upset from rolling off the truck. Won't be too upset if you kind of get it sideways. Of course, the big difference here, NSX has the traction with that V6 behind it, but that V8 has so much horsepower that when Wozniak gets that right foot down in the right way, he can leave that NSX in the dust, and we could see it here in turn 9. You can see the bits of debris there from that outside warning marker. That's been hit a couple times. I'm not sure who decided to go bowling against those, but it has had some victims. Davin right on the bumper of Woz. Bit of a wiggle there. Davin takes a look to the inside. Wozniak still goes wide here. This will be the slowest line. It's all about getting a good exit in this section, and this might be what the doctor ordered for Davin. Runs it a little bit shallow there through turn 14. You can just watch here in the helicopter cam how, even with the foot flat out, Wozniak is able to, even in the draft, get that gap open. Still a solid number of viewers in here. Want to thank all of you for coming out here this Tuesday night. Round 2 of the North American Sim Racing Series at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Jackson Lambros talking you through the last 17 minutes of this secondary round here. Mikhail Charles had a 10-second lead, has been slowly losing that here to Arroyon in the Ford Mustang here. Jeffrey Arroyon, but he's got lap traffic, trying to work himself back into the lead lap of Matt Quant. As the whole podium has been kind of spread out. You got Charles, then 10 seconds back is Arroyon, and then another 10 seconds back, it's Jorge Blasini Rivera. So your battle then is for 4th. Abe Wozniak versus Davin Strudevant. And since the drop of the green, have been bumper to bumper this entire race. And since the second cycle of pits, or excuse me, since the cycle of pit stops, these two have been going at it as well. Carter Hayne for Hoons Racing and the Jumpy Whale number 25 machine of Arjun Lakshmi. And now we got another one developing. This is for 12th. Ren Slater slowly getting in on that Porsche Motorsports machine of Joaquin Munoz. Not quite at battle status yet. We will update you as that develops. Davin, meanwhile, is looking closer than ever through TV3 here. Wozniak goes wide. He'll go to the inside here. Davin looking to the outside here through turn number 9. One of the fastest corners on the track. Almost touch into turn number 10. Into Lakaja, who's going to get it on the anchors? Wozniak later to brake, but he's got more real estate to travel on the outside. Still side by side through 11 and 12. They bang doors. This is brilliant racing. And with his back to the ropes, Abe Wozniak holds on to 4th. And all that's done is let Nitin Murphy pounce on the moment and become a part of this conversation again. 15 minutes to go. Matt Quam, by the way, who was the caboose in this 3-car train, is still in contention. He's in 8th. 2.5 seconds back from LaFlamme, about 12 seconds from that battle overall. Some incredible racing here. With 13.5 minutes to go, as it's Wozniak, Strudevant, and Murthy. Murthy's still very much in cruise control in his class. LaFlamme is next in position there in 7th, but that's about 10 seconds back. $13 minutes to go. Mikhail Charles still with the lead. Arroyon is slowly chipping away, though. What was once an 11-second gap, now 8.5 seconds. Well, Mikhail does have the best overall time in best sector 2 and 3. Arroyon is faster, notably in that first sector. So Davin's now kind of backed out of this battle with Woz pretty significantly. Now the question is Murthy going to maybe pounce on this and try to get himself a top 5 finish? How badly does he want it? Arjun and Carter continue to go at it, but this has kind of evolved into a freight train of a couple behind him. Kind of 2 battles becoming 1 here. As Arjun holds off Carter Hayne. Joaquin Munoz is holding off Brian Slater. And just to remind you, as Arroyon continues to kind of chip away here at this lead that Charles has, there was a 10-second differential of the stop. They came in at the exact same time, so this is letting pace do all the talking. When it comes to the final result, now 8 seconds was as low as 7.8 earlier on. As Mikhail might just slightly be feeling the pressure. Slater in that NSX, closer than ever now to Munoz. Looking for a top 10 finish here. If he can get by Hayne, he can do it. But first, he's got to get by Joaquin Munoz. Slater to the outside into turn number 1. Here come the anchors. Munoz acknowledges the track position, but the strip flips. He'll have the inside now. Gets him by a nose here into turn number 3. Slater has the inside, but he can't carry the speed that Munoz does. He'll slingshot on the inside, and now Slater is able to hang it around the outside. This is far from over, though. Into turn number 5. Munoz has lost the position for now, but this is some incredible driving from him and Slater. And what just might have been the move of the day, if he can take that all the way to the flag. Some brilliant racing from the Canadian. Back to the podium spots. Abe Wozniak still holding on to 4th for now. Again, Davin isn't going to be a guy who's chucking it up the inside if he sees an ounce. There's three mental safety nets to keep him from doing that. He's done this more than any of us. Granted, he's putting the pressure for sure here on that Podium Hunters Mustang. Back to this battle here for the top 10. Arjan's kind of taken off here. But Carter Hayne now has both Slater and Munoz in his rearview mirror. Slater been hard on charge in this last stint, looking for a top 10 result. Gonna have to be a Honda on Honda battle though to make it happen. The Honda is also being very much a popular choice among the drivers, as you can see. I'm not sure if that was Davin leading the way. I asked Mikhail specifically, and he just said cargo vroom. So it is a bit of personal taste at the end of the day. We're all JDM guys. But one of the most populated cars in this race, especially though when you see what Davin can do in this thing, it motivates the rest of the guys in this grid to maybe go give it a shot. Davin right on the bumper here, but further back, the two NSXs continue to battle. As 5-5 mentioned, we've got a textbook Donnybrook going on here. Slater gets around Munoz, who's kind of since dropped out of the picture, but lets it hang in the outside and got himself around Joaquin Munoz. Looking for a potential way around here through TV3. It won't get there. Great opportunity here in the hairpin, but you got to get a good exit through 9 to make it happen. In downforce, you got to have faith in through turn number 9, then all the way on the brakes. That's wide for for Carter Hayne, and that will be top 10 for Brian Slater. Carter Hayne let the pressure get to him, got late on the brakes, and let Slater sail on by. Five minutes to go on the clock. Still a three-way battle here for fourth. But we have watched Brian Slater from 14th work his way up to the top 10 here in an explosive second stint. Back to Wozniak and Stradivant. This is kind of a battle that's evolved from finding points where you can kind of be on the bumper. As 5-5 mentioned, it was sort of, Abe having the advantage in the straights to a lot more, I'm just on your bumper at this point. But again, tires are starting to go for everyone at this point. Now Murphy is also slowly trying to close that gap. Goes wide there to try to get a little bit more exit speed off of the chicane. That might just work. He's already got the draft. They're both in the sand here as they go across the stripe. 3.5 minutes to go. Davin's right in the draft. I don't think he's going to pull a dummy here, but it's definitely in contention. Both go to the outside. In some great driving from Wozniak so far, who has not let Sensei Davin get to him one bit. Out of 3. Still equal on pace. Both go wide here, favoring a late apex. Davin's going to be able to dig on him, though. Murphy has got to have the popcorn out watching this battle. Further ahead, Charles has digged his way back to a 10-second deficit. Or 10-second lead, excuse me, but it is all eyes right now on Abe Wozniak and Davin Stradivant as Murphy waits in the wings, potentially for a major upset here. Back through the stadium. Two minutes to go. Wozniak has a better exit there back onto the main straight. Wozniak was faster that lap, doing a 46.3. Davin did a 46.7. But that does not mean he won't still try to get by. 3 and 4 is where the chances have looked best this entire time. But he doesn't have enough distance to make it happen. And now Murphy's on the gearbox looking to make something happen. Turn 9. On the anchors into 10. Davin skates it. Four-wheel slide there across the apex. He is cooking this thing right now, trying to make this pass happen. Chicane, a good way of kind of seeing how set up these guys are for the backstretch. And Davin for sure is. But he just cannot compete with the horsepower of that Mustang. Further ahead, this will be the last lap for Mikel Charles. He's got lap traffic in front of him. But just one more lap. And finally, the one that's gotten away from him so many times could be his. Now or never, though. Davin, another guy who was consistently in the fight at Silverstone, now finds his way into this battle. Out of 13 for the final time. The wait for Mikel Charles is finally over. He'll win at Catalunya. And now it's trouble at the podium. Blasini Rivera out of fuel. He'll go around. He's slowed up big time. I'm not sure if it's fuel or something. He makes contact with Wozniak, who almost loses it. Now he's sandwiched between himself and Davin. That might be the race right there. A Royan in third and in a Hollywood finish. Abe Wozniak clinches that final spot on the podium. Holy smokes! Oh my goodness. Abe Wozniak wins in a stunner. But it is finally victory for Mikel Charles. I'm going to see if I can grab him for a quick chat. Stay with us. Back here post-race. There are your results on screen here as Mikel Charles finally gets victory, and we are joined by him here. Mikel, kind of a boring race, but I feel like that was sort of what you were wanting today.
Tires in check for the entire race. Basically, yeah. But I knew I was gonna win though, so yeah.
We were talking last time by about just how much you can get frustrated and how the mental game can kind of get to you here. Did it feel like there was a sense of victory over that today, or was it more of a matter of I was just not in a scenario where that was going to be an issue for me?
Yeah, I wasn't in really any hectic scenarios. I mean, my mom did call me mid race, but that was about it. I kind of almost crashed into the grass, but it's fine.
All right, well, I'll get you out of here. Congratulations. Go call your mom. Some great
Yeah,
handling, boss.
thank you.
Another guy joining us right now, Arjun, who was in a fantastic battle there earlier on for the top 10. Arjun, you can unmute yourself, but you kind of had some involvement there in that jumpy whale machine. What more so, you kind of had a battle going on in the rear view mirrors in that second stint. Kind of walk through your race for me.
Oh, the whole race I was just struggling with tire wear. It just had massive overheating in the left side, and I was just trying to manage that while trying to like not get overtaken and also get past Carter in the second stint. So it was kind of rough. I also did miss the braking zone because the sun was in my eyes going down the back straight. But yeah, overall, I think this is a positive. I think I finished 2 places behind where I started despite the incident, so I'll take it.
I can give you that info if you give me 2 seconds here. Oh, never mind. Everyone's leaving. I will say you were one of the biggest movers off of the start. But talk to me about how this race, solid result. Talk to me about how this affects the mentality going into next week.
I don't know. It's like 2 good races back to back. I'd just like to keep the momentum going into the next races. There wasn't too many mistakes from me, like not massive mistakes from the last 2 races. I'd like to keep it that way. I also like to keep it a bit more cleaner from my end, not get taken out much or cause incidents, and yeah, just keep the momentum going, I guess.
Arjun, congrats. Go ahead and celebrate. We'll see you next week.
All right, thank you.
Last in this batch here, Zach Beauclair. Zach, you had a really big turnout here on the stream, actually. And I know it's not the result that you wanted, but walk through your race of kind of ups and downs for me.
Yeah, so I guess I didn't unfortunately have a ton of time to practice, so this was definitely a little bit of a rushed thing for me getting in here, getting some laps in before quali. Definitely didn't qualify where I was hoping, but it was fine, and I was going to try to at least finish where I started, and overall in pros still took 7 out of 8, so I guess I'll take it. But had a crash at the beginning, so I decided just to take an early pit stop, up my traction control and ABS, and just kind of watch my tires to finish out the race and hope there were penalties and crashes kind of being dished out a little bit, which worked. So I ended up getting back to where I started. So kind of okay with how things turned out, and looking forward to next week's race for sure.
You have a really solid race one. You get down in the count and you're not out. You're doing this all while learning on the job. What's the mentality going into next week?
Definitely taking more time to practice for sure. I don't even remember what next week's track is. I'm actually going to just look really quick here. It is Snetterton, so another track I've never seen before. So it'll be. I'll need to practice a lot, but mentally for next week, I'm hoping to qualify higher and have I guess just some fewer accidents or no accidents, and just try to get back to clean driving and clean racing.
The good news for you is I don't think a lot of these guys have seen Snetterton either, so I think it's going to be a very level playing field for you. But I know not the result you wanted, but a fantastic drive. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you. See you next week.
That's Zach Beauclair. One more round of interviews, hopefully, and some closing thoughts, and we'll send you guys on your way. Stay with us.
Sure.
Another trio of interviews for you here as we're wrapping up from Barcelona. Let's start with the man who really was just involved all race long, had his elbows out. Abe Wozniak in the Podium Hunters Mustang. Abe, not a lot of relaxation today. Walk me through your race.
Very stressed. I had very minimal practice coming up to this. Basically 30 minutes last week and then 30 minutes today before the race. So was not as prepared as I should have been. But yeah, it worked out, I think.
I think we'll hear from the other party of this here in a little bit, but we can have everybody else in the circle mute. I feel like we were talking in chat about just kind of the respect you have for the guys around you when you have kind of elbows out, especially at such a high leverage position. Do you feel like these are guys that you're just confident battling with?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I raced with these guys, a couple years ago. I took a year off of sim racing and then kind of got back into it this year. But yeah, I mean, being around them, I trust them on track. So, show respect, get respect back. So it works out.
We're going from a really big world-renowned track in Barcelona into Snetterton next week. What's the mentality?
The mentality is I will not be at that race.
Awesome.
My past, will not be there. So,
well, right on. Abe, congrats on a great drive. We'll see you in a couple weeks then.
All right, thank you, sir.
Let's go from a top 5 finisher to a top 10 finisher. Certainly does not take any integrity out of that. Brian Slater, in that second stint, what turned on there? Because it was a mega drive getting your fangs out around that Porsche and just getting yourself into the top 10. Walk us through that second half of that race.
Second half, it was like the beginning of the first stint. It was that the car just would not come together. It just wouldn't turn. It was sliding everywhere. Hey, it could have been me. Who knows? But then I got punted in turn 12, I think it was. And that kind of made me laugh and relaxed me a lot. Drove around, got new tires, went and did a pit stop, came back out. And I came back out with, okay, I'm in 15th. There's a top 10 here. Let's see what we can do. So I just concentrated. The car felt great. The wheels were gripping up. Everything just seemed to fall in place in the second stint. So, that was it. Once I got past the first guy, it was like, oh, there's the next guy. I'm going to pass him next. So it just all worked out. It was really nice. It was a good race. Good sportsmanship from everyone else I was battling. No door banging, no nothing. It was just nice and clean.
I know it's not the scenario you want to be in, but does getting in an incident like that just kind of throw a weight off your chest and just saying, let me just do what I can and see what happens?
Yeah, I think for sure. When you think of it psychologically, when you're racing and you're trying hard to stay at least where you are and you're battling guys that are as fast as you, then you get punted. Or, a mishap happens, and then you fall back and you go, oh, well, I guess I'll just make the best of it. And for sure, your shoulders drop down, you relax. And I noticed at the beginning I was very tense, and then after the accident, it was very relaxed, and wow, just away I went, for sure.
We going to see you next week at Snetterton?
Oh, yeah, Snetterton's a lot of challenging, that's for sure. That's a track of be patient, that's for sure.
Look forward to it. Congrats on a great drive, Brian. We'll see you next week.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And we're going to wrap it up here with owner of the North American Sim Racing Series and the sensei of us all. Okay, you sent it to me earlier, and I'm still butchering it. Davin Strudevant?
Sturdivant.
I'm getting there. I'm so sorry.
You'll get there.
Okay. Again, very much in the same... Not even in the same scenario as Wozniak. You were on Wozniak's bumper, and you guys were, fangs out the entire race. Walk us through your hour and 5 minutes there.
Those battles are fun, right? I trust Abe to give me room. There were a couple times where we went too wide in 9 and 10 and 12, and, he respects his space and doesn't try to run me off the road. So it lets me be confident that I'm going to have racing room to maneuver. And, I would brake early and work with him as his tires were going off so that we didn't kill each other. And, we did our best. Like, we were kind of battling each other a little bit hard there after the second stint, and I saw that Nitin was catching us. And so I tried to time my attacks a little bit better so that we weren't just giving time back. But it was fun, man. You can't be mad when you finish in the top 5.
I know you're about to jump back in race social and probably see some evidence that proves otherwise to what I'm going to say, but throughout the field, not only do you guys keep it clean through one, but you are consistently being polite when there is incidents. You're giving each other room. As the showrunner, how does it feel to kind of have nurtured that sort of environment?
I mean, it's good to see it, right? I mean, the reason why this league exists is it's supposed to be this fun collegiate atmosphere with your friends where you have fun and learn how to be a better driver. And you can't do that if you don't show respect to the people around you. So it's really nice to see that the drivers understand that and work with each other to make sure that we can all make it to the end of the race and aren't trying to murder each other. Because no one's learning when you're just dooring people. So.
Last thing here, because you're mentioning that, and then all I'm anticipating at next week at Snetterton is chaos. So I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what was going on in the mind of Davin to be like, yes, sidewalk.
Well, we have to put all the tracks in the calendar.
No,
and
it's true.
And I mean, I tell the guys all the time, deal with it.exe, right? Like in real life, you don't always get to choose this calendar. You don't always get to choose the weather. You don't always get to choose your opponent. So you have to learn how to deal with it and optimize what you've got. So our calendar mixes and matches tracks and weathers and configuration just so that they learn to adapt. And then either whether here or other places, they've got those skills in their toolkit. So then when people give them something simple, they're like, oh, it's only raining? Oh, it's only dark? Oh, right. So it's to their benefit.
100%. Davin, congrats on a great race. We'll see all three of you next week at Snetterton. Oh, except David, but
Thank you, man.
Congrats, boys.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you around.
Thanks, Shaq.
Thanks.
That will do it for us here from Barcelona. We will be back next week at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern for round 3 of the North American Sim Racing Series from Snetterton. Until then, I'm Jackson Lambros saying let your passion fuel you. We'll see you next time.